You're very welcome back. Well, my next guest is determined to stay positive and live her life to the full almost 4 years after being told that the average life expectancy for people with her condition is 3 years. In a moment, I'll be talking to breast cancer sufferer Sue McDermott. But first, let's take a look at this report from Midweek's Michael Ryan.
I know you have a snigger and a giggle and all that, but I'm telling you, the most dangerous age for boys with testicular cancer is 15 to 30. Now, I know there's not many 15-year-olds could go to one of their parents or their guardian and say, I'm off to find a lump in my ball, but you're going out, you have to.
This is 45-year-old Sue McDermott from Dublin at Moyle Park Secondary School in Clondalkin, where she used to be the secretary. These days she comes back to talk to the students about a subject she's become all too familiar with over the past 5 years: cancer. Sue has breast cancer, but is determined to stay positive and beat the odds.
My life has changed totally, but it's a really good life. I've had about 115 chemotherapies over the last 5 years. It's not curable what I have, but it's treatable. That's the way they would put it. The average life expectancy for my type of cancer is 3 years from second diagnosis. So I'm nearly 4 years now.
As part of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, the students at Sue's former school organise an annual fundraising Pink Day.
And this is our 3rd year doing it. It started off with just a novelty idea with pink, and it's just got bigger and bigger and bigger. They've raided mammy's wardrobes, they've gone to party shops, they've done everything, and they know they're doing it for Sue. And lots of students have family members maybe that have cancer or are bereaved with cancer, and they've been bringing us individually maybe €20 to donate from their families. She's so optimistic, she's so positive, and she's such a great inspiration. And it's very real for the students. It's one of us, it's our community in Moyle Park College, and it's really important. She goes around to the class and talks to the boys, and they know they do it for her.
Sue has put together a book due out in the next few weeks with poems and articles written by other cancer patients. She's hoping to give it out free to places like oncology units and doctors' waiting rooms.
We're going to call it Thump the Lump, because we just said we wanted to catch people's attention, and when you do find a lump, you do go, oh God, I just want to get rid of it, like, you know what I mean?
Sue wants the book to be an uplifting experience for anyone who reads it.
Hopefully it will be given to people when they're diagnosed with cancer, if the consultant feels they're strong enough. Because when you're first told you have cancer, it's all bad news. Do you have cancer? You might need an operation, you need treatment, you're going to be sick, your hair might fall out, you know, and it's just everything. And you literally go on automatic pilot for a good long time, and then suddenly you start to, you know, right, this is happening. So it's not, I want them to see that even though you have a really serious illness, one, a lot of it is curable. Two, it doesn't mean, it means big changes, but it doesn't necessarily mean the end.
Sue's former boss says even though she left the school a number of years ago, she continues to play a very positive role there.
I have found that over the last 3 years especially, as her battle with her disease has got tougher, she has been inspirational in the manner in which she has maintained link with the school, and particularly with the boys, and the education that she has provided to them about breast cancer, testicular cancer and skin cancer especially. So she is an inspiration. It's difficult to put into words how much she has meant when she stopped working in the school. She was a treasure when she was here, but after she left, she became even a bigger presence in the school in her absence. So we really are indebted to her, and we think she's fantastic.
As far as I'm concerned, I'm going to live for a long, long time. I know I'm not going to live to be an old woman. It will get me, I know that in the end, but my thing is I'm just going to beat all the odds.
All right, well, with me now is the lady featured in that video, Sue McDermott. Sue, I know you were getting a little bit emotional looking at that video. To get a gang of lads like that to dress up in pink, they love you loads.
And walk to school and not get beaten up. Because I asked several people who were older, would you have done that when you were a teenager? And they went, no. But the boys up in Moyle Park are just incredible. They so get into everything.
Belly tops, feather boas,
absolutely.
90s, the whole lot.
Their sisters' pyjamas. I mean, they raided the female family members' wardrobes were raided.
Can I take you back to 5 years ago? You were a newlywed, married just a couple of months, and you were in the shower and you found a lump.
Yeah. I think it was 12, 14 weeks after we got married, and so simple, having a shower, found a lump on my breast. I wasn't even looking, it wasn't that I was checking myself, which now every woman should check herself, make it a monthly part of their routine. Basically, found a lump, and I was like, right, that was Saturday evening, I was in the doctor's on Monday morning.
When you say a lump, Sue, do you mean something small and hard or something big?
No, it wasn't too big. And this is the thing, you know, most women automatically think it's a round lump and it's hard. It's not. Mine was actually a very weird shape. Yeah. And it wasn't smooth around the edges or anything, and that's why I started going, it's definitely not breast cancer. Cut a long story short, it was breast cancer. I was sent to the hospital, I had a mammogram, I had an aspiration, and basically they said there was abnormal cells found. Now that doesn't mean necessarily cancer. If someone's told that, it doesn't necessarily mean it's cancer. A few days later I got a call to say, yeah, abnormal cells, you need to come in. So I had a lumpectomy, and then a week later I was told, no, it is cancer, so I had a partial mastectomy then. Then your body has to heal, and so that was in the November, and in the January then I started my chemotherapy, and then after that I had radiotherapy.
And for people who aren't familiar with chemotherapy, how gruelling a process is it? You're sort of tied up to machines?
Right, you can't, I'm not going to lie, it's not a pleasant experience, but it wasn't. My big thing was, a lot of people think chemotherapy is a bad thing. It's going, oh God, I have to go for chemo. I just kept saying this is a good thing because it's going to cure me of my cancer and it's keeping me alive. So chemotherapy is a good thing. Now it can make you feel terrible, but if you keep in your head that this is making me better, I might feel rotten now, but later on this is going to be worth it. It's not a nice experience, and it is intravenous. The one I got, I lost all my hair, and I was quite ill for a few days after each episode. Then the second time I was diagnosed with cancer, which is the one that I'm dealing with now, I had every week for 3 weeks I'd have chemo, and then on the 4th week I'd have no chemo. So that's why I've had so many chemos. I've had 3 years of every week for 3 weeks, and then on the 4th week a free week.
Losing your hair though as a woman, Sue, because you know your image
so
is
traumatic.
Yeah,
it is actually, and people would think this is strange, but it's nearly as traumatic as being told you have cancer.
I can imagine.
When actually you're sitting there and you put your hand in your hair and you a handful of hair and you're going, oh God. I actually just went down and got mine shaved off because I said I am not going to go 2 or 3 weeks of just this falling out. So I actually got mine shaved off.
And down to the hairdresser?
Yeah, I went down to a barber's.
They said whip it off.
Yeah, just said shave it off.
And did you wear a wig afterwards, Sue?
I bought a beautiful wig, but I just wasn't happy in it. And you sweat a lot and the sweat runs down and it's itchy. So I went bald some of the time. And
scarves?
Yeah, bandanas. That's what I did, yeah. And I was a lot thinner then, so it actually it didn't look too bad.
When you lose your hair, though, you lose your eyebrow hair, your eye, everything goes. It's not just the hair.
Everything. Yeah. Everything. And it's funny, you know, because like I think God has a very funny sense of humour. Like my hair grew back, and I even got a tash, and I hadn't had one of them before.
I'm sure John was making loads of fun of you at that stage. You were given the all clear then at one stage.
No, you're not.
You're never given, or you're in remission.
They don't even say that. They say you're finished your treatment, and they won't actually say you're clear. They say if you go 5 years after your initial cancer, then they more or less say, yeah, you have a really good chance that it's never going to come back. They will say you're in remission or you're cured or whatever.
Okay.
I'd finished all my treatment. I think it was the June or the July of '06. And in January '07 I was re-diagnosed, so I actually never really got rid of mine.
Right, okay.
I reckon it had spread already.
Right.
So I'm just unfortunate, basically. It's gone into the lymph nodes, and I have a spot in my left lung. So
when you went back in January '07, how did they say to you? How did they tell you, look, it's back, or it never really went? What words did they use? They
just sort of, we're so sorry, but yeah, you do have cancer. It's back. and it spread, and it's secondaries. And I remember my husband, and I just remember saying to him, I'm so sorry, because I just felt, my husband's first partner died from cancer as well.
Oh my God.
And I just sort of said, it's not fair that my husband has to do this again. But myself and my husband, we made a decision the very first time I was diagnosed. We weren't going to change our lives. We were going to have them have a normal life as possible. He was still going to go to work. I was still going to, you know, once I was finished with treatment, go back to Moyle Park, which I adored. It was my dream job. And I just, we did, and we've done that ever since. And even, I've been quite ill now this year. We're still keeping it.
You had 4 heart attacks in the middle of the summer.
I had 4 in July. I've had 4 heart attacks. So that's why I'm steroidal, as they say. I'm after putting on a ton of weight because I'm on a lot of steroids.
When did they use the word terminal with you, Sue?
I actually don't think any of them have said terminal to me. They've said it's not curable. And to be honest, they won't well, this is my experience now. I asked them. And if I hadn't have asked them, they never would have said it. I needed to know. So I remember going into my absolutely wonderful oncologist, Dr. Kennedy, down in James's, and I said, right, I need to know. I said, what's the prognosis? And I'm usually quite calm about things and all that, but I wasn't expecting the answer he gave me. Yeah. He just said, okay, he said, the average life expectancy for your type of cancer. And I don't want to frighten people out there. There's so many different types of cancers. Lots of them are curable. There's different types of breast cancers. Different people get cured. You know, there's so many. I have friends who have breast cancer and they're clear 5 years. I know another lady who's clear 20 years. It is curable. You know, I'm just one of the unfortunates, basically. But I remember saying to him, you know, average life expectancy, and he said 3 years. Well, I nearly fell off the chair I was sitting in because I was not expecting that, and I couldn't believe that in my early 40s I was being told, and I just... That blew my mind, and it did take me a couple of days now just to get it. And then I just said to my husband...
How did you tell John?
I actually had to get one of the nurses. I said, I have to tell my husband, and he needs to know now. And I remember he came into the hospital, and it was disbelief. The two of us just sat there in disbelief, and that was it, you know. But I still don't think I'm going to... I really and truly do not think I'm going to die in the near future. I really don't.
Do you talk about it with John? Do you say, I'm dying?
No. Never. Never. No.
You don't talk about...
No. We've gone on long-haul holidays. We do everything we've always done. In May, I was rock climbing in Alaska. I've just said to John, I'm going to do everything. I've done 2 parachute jumps from 12,500 feet. I've done rock climbing, I've done kayaking, I drive a motorbike. And
it sounds like you have a bucket list and you're sort of going
that's what I called
like the way we all have things we want to achieve in life.
And I just said, well, I'm going to get them in now. I'm going to get them in now. And John and myself have done it, and I'm so blessed to have John because he's working, we put our money away. I've had to give up work. And I'm just blessed that I have John.
You look so fit and well and healthy, and you're so energetic and full of enthusiasm. So
that's what I want. I want to get across to people that just because you're told you have cancer, some people go to ground the minute they're told, and they're in bed and they're like, oh my God, that's it. And they do actually let themselves die, and it really upsets me. I've met so many patients over the years that, you know, and they're going, oh, this is awful. And I'm just going, look, get up. I know, now there's days I can't get up, there's days I can't do stuff. But when I do have days, I listen to my body, I'll have my little rest, but I just won't let it. I'm just determined that it's not going to beat me. I want people to know that just because you're told you have cancer does not mean it's the end.
You have an incredible spirit. You're trying to thump the lump.
Thump the lump.
Tell us about the book, Sue.
I came up with the idea in bed one night after having a lovely day out with my husband, and it was a real simple day. I'd gone to the Phoenix Park, then I went up to my sister Debbie, and we had a meal with her husband and the boys, and I just said it was just a real simple nice day, and I said my life is really good, like. And then I went into the hospital and I was talking to a lovely man, Joe, and I just said, Joe, has anything positive happened to you since you got cancer? And he said, yeah. He said, absolutely, I hug my children. And he said, I always thought being a father was about putting money